We're going through examples of how a person can do one action and be chayiv two chatos, two sacrifices, because that one action is actually two separate categories of malachas. The last case we had from Reb Kahana was a person that pruned the tree, which it promotes the growth of the tree. Pruning is a tolda of neiteya, of planting, and at the same time, because he needed the wood, he would be chayiv because of harvesting. We said that both of those, interestingly, were told us according to Rashi. Zoymer, pruning, was a tolda of neiteya, and harvesting wood, Rashi tells us, is a tolda of harvesting fruit. And we're up to Amar of Yosef. So Rabbi Yosef says, "Hi man, this man or this person, the katal aspasta, that he cuts. Aspasta is like a wheatgrass. So actually, I read in Rabbi Steinsaltz's translation, the new one, that it's alfalfa, which is interesting to me. But whatever the case is, if someone cuts this aspasta, he would be chayiv shtayim is chayiv again, two things. Achas mishum kaitzer, one because of harvesting, and achas mishum neiteya, and one because of planting a tree. The interesting thing here is that we learned before from Rashi that neiteya is actually meant only for trees. Aspasta is, whether it's alfalfa or wheatgrass, is not a tree. So the way we can explain this is that because you're promoting the growth of something that's actually has its stalk already sticking out of the ground, so we're going to consider this like a sapling because it has the stalk coming out of it. Zeireya, on the other hand, if you see on the top of the page, Zeireya over there, that would be planting it from the seed, but over here, because you're cutting it and it grows better after you cut it, you're not pulling it out of the ground, it's still there as like a sapling, as a small plant with a branch sticking out of the ground, so that would be considered neiteya. Let's take a look at Rashi. And Rashi says, the katal aspasta, someone that cuts this wheatgrass, he says shachas. Shachas is actually a hay. It's what the animals eat. It is harvested. Harvested 3 times a month. Gimel pamim b'chodesh, 3 times a month. And it continues to grow. So very good. That would be the reason why you're chayiv too. One, because of kaitzer, you harvested, you got your hay, but the fact that you're helping it grow more, you're chayiv because of planting as well. Amar Abaya says, Haiman the kind of silka, someone that cuts silka is beets. Is chayiv shtayim. In this case, is also chayiv too. I want to point out that you have to put a period or a comma after the shtayim. Let's make it into a comma better. But if you don't, you're going to end up reading chayiv shtayim achas, and you'll try to figure out what's 2, 1. So the way you have to read it is chayiv shtayim chayiv 2. Now we're going to explain what these two are. Well, the first one is achas mishum kaitzer. One is because you're harvesting, and v'achas mishum zeireya, and one because you're planting a seed. Zeireya actually is sowing seeds, so it's a little hard to read. I just want to take you to the Bach to show you something interesting here. The Bach, which is that right over here, you see that Goysa Bach. The Bach says it says it's on the Gemara, the Kan of Silka, which we just learned. It says va'achas mishum neiteya, and va'acherish is already the next piece of Gemara. I'll put the 2 dots in there to help you recognize that's the next piece of Gemara. But he just wants to make sure that you know which word he's fixing. He's actually changing this zeireya right here into neiteya, and the benefit of that is because if it still has its stalk, like we just learned, so obviously that would be neiteya, just like aspasta was neiteya. Why should it be zeireya? And there's a huge difference, by the way, if it's neiteya or zeireya. The difference is, if I do zoymer, if I do pruning, and at the same, forgetting that it's Shabbos, I do zeireya, I cut the beets, if beets is considered a tolda of zeireya, then I would be chayiv 2 malachas, like two chatayos, like we learned before, that zoymer is not a tolda of zeireya, it's a tolda of neiteya. Obviously, according to the Rambam, this doesn't apply, but according to Rashi, it would.